Welcome to the Authentically Elisa podcast, Reshaping Business with Integrity, the podcast where you explore how to run your business authentically and with integrity. I'm your host, Elisa Bogarts, a business coach and launch manager, helping coaches launch their programs and events that align with their business values. Together, we'll uncover the secrets to building a successful business without sacrificing morals, ethics, authenticity, or heart. Let's dive in. So let's dive into today's episode. We're going to be talking about how to get clients from LinkedIn. And today I have an amazing guest with me, Joe Apfelbaum. Joe is a LinkedIn trainer. He's the CEO of EVAI, a sales assistant, helping coaches and consultants generate $100K in profit from LinkedIn. Joe is an author, speaker, and LinkedIn trainer, and he's an expert at all things generating leads and clients. Grew his company, Ajax Union, a digital marketing agency, to be on the top of the INC 500 as one of the fastest growing companies in the U.S. He's the author of 5 books, including his most recent book, High Energy Networking, a book that teaches you how to get anything you want from your relationships. And when he's not traveling the world inspiring entrepreneurs, he enjoys being a single dad to his 5 kids in Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. So tell me how you got into this field of work and just why you're so passionate about it.
The way that I got into the field of work specifically related to artificial intelligence and digital marketing is, the famous saying, if you build it, they will come. I built it, nobody came. Yeah. That was a big problem for me because my clients, initially they were really, really happy. But after they realized, oh my God, if you build it, they will not come. What are we going to do? How are you going to be able to get clients? You made me a website. I was a web designer. I made websites for people and nobody came to those websites. So that was a little confusing for me, to tell you the truth, because I had no idea that there was a thing called marketing. But I quickly had to learn how to get traffic to websites. And what was popular at the time was search engines. I'm sure you heard of SEO or search engine optimization. That's where you search for a particular word on Google and your website shows up.
Right.
So I got really proficient at SEO. Everything that I learned from books and courses. I was kind of self-taught in that world. And I got so good at it that the word started spreading. Hey, this guy's really good at SEO. And people started coming to me. And the difference between doing SEO versus building websites is with websites, they would pay me one time and they'd be done. But with SEO, they would pay me hundreds of dollars every single month. So before you know it, I had 100 clients paying me a few $100s a month, and it turned into a multi-million-dollar business.
Wow.
I didn't really expect to be able to grow a business that big initially, but I did have a vision to wanting to have a 7-figure business when I realized that I actually had the potential to have a 7-figure business. I didn't always know that I had the potential to do that. I also didn't understand how sales worked. I think that me starting to understand that I have to actually do sales and not just rely on referrals and wait for people to come. Because like they say, if you build it, they will come wasn't true. All of a sudden I'm like, I built it. Nobody's coming. What am I going to do? I had to literally start calling people, building relationships, getting to know people, and that would turn into new clients. What I learned through that process is that if you actually reach out to people, there are plenty of people that are looking to buy your products and services. If you can solve an actual problem for them that they're having, they'd be thrilled to have you be on their team.
And so, but how did you get into EVAI and LinkedIn and all that?
So I got into SEO. I got really good at marketing, and then I started calling people, and I started getting all the wrong customers. Like I started getting customers, but they weren't the customers that I was kind of thrilled about. And they were a little cheap and it seemed like nobody wanted to work with them. And so I started realizing that the best customers come from referrals and relationships. And so I started doing networking. I started going out to networking events and I started building relationships with people in person. And what happened through that is I got an account that was paying me $45,000 a month.
Wow.
So it turned into like, oh, if you're cold calling, you're going to close accounts that are a few hundred a month. But if you build relationships, you can close accounts that are tens of thousands of dollars a month. And so I realized, oh my gosh, this is the way to do it. If I'm going to grow my business and it's going to be sustainable, I need to be able to network more and build relationships with people. But the truth is I was afraid of networking. I was afraid of getting to know people. I was afraid of building relationships. I didn't understand how it worked. And so I read a lot of books and I did a lot of research and I went to a lot of events and I failed a lot. And eventually I got really good. You know, the person you see right now that walks onto a ship and is able to make 100 friendships, that's the person that worked for a decade trying to learn the art of networking and relationship building and got really good at it. Not because I was this outgoing, easy guy and like, you know, this the front and center of everybody. I was afraid of public speaking. I was afraid of networking. I was afraid of writing books. I was afraid of everything. But me getting over my fears and being really into personal development was really helpful for me. So who I am today is not the same person that I was 20 years ago, certainly not 10 years ago. But for me, it's about getting to know people, building real relationships. And what I realized in 2016 when Microsoft paid $26.2 billion for LinkedIn is that they were transforming LinkedIn into a 24/7 networking event. Before that, it was just a place where people just had their profile.
Right.
But it became a place, people search for jobs, exactly. But it became a place where people were able to build real relationships because they started with posting and articles and eventually video. And I saw the way it was transforming. And I saw how much traction I was getting on LinkedIn. So like, for example, on Facebook, when they introduced advertising on Facebook, all the organic posts stopped doing well. They were like, you have to advertise if you want to get anything out of Facebook. But on LinkedIn, I posted something and then 10,000 people would see it. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And every single person I added on LinkedIn as a connection then became my follower. And on LinkedIn, you can have, on Facebook, you can only have 5,000 connections, 5,000 friends. On LinkedIn, I was able to have 30,000. So I was able to add many, many more people, and the people that were on there, I was able to see who they were. I had their first name and last name, but I also had their company name, where they worked before, where they went to school, what licenses and certifications they have, our mutual connections. There's so much information that I get from LinkedIn that I don't get from any other place, and so it became much more valuable. Also, a lot of people put their email and their cell phone number on their profile, whereas on Facebook, people would never do that because it's a private place. It's a place where people are just there to party and have fun. There's a lot of F's in Facebook, which is like fun, food, friendships. But on LinkedIn, it's more about networking and building relationships and getting to know people. And it's like a 24/7 trade show. So I got really, really good at it. And eventually people started saying, hey, can you show me what you're doing? How do you close really big deals on LinkedIn? And so I started showing people, and people were like, can you make this into a formal course? And so I decided to start a training company called Evergreen, and that's kind of like what happened. I just started training people. I had to learn how to make courses. I started building courses and funnels and all types of stuff. I got really into it. And eventually what happened is that I taught a lot of people how to do it, but they didn't necessarily have the time to do everything I would teach them how to do.
Right.
And they didn't have the money to hire an assistant. So I said, I'm going to build an assistant that can help you for a couple dollars a month. You can have an assistant that will help you basically full-time 24/7 doing things that you don't have the time to do, like posting, like coming up with comments, messages, all the jazz, all the stuff that you know you need to do that I teach you to do to get exposure, credibility, and book meetings. I'm going to have an assistant. And now we have 18,000 users in 37 countries around the world using Evie AI, and I'm very proud of it. But it came as kind of like a consequence of, if you build it, they will come. Nope, nobody's coming. You gotta market it. You gotta network. You gotta do the hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought up networking, because I found in my short journey of being an entrepreneur that is kind of what has worked most. And whenever people ask me that, that's always my answer, that actually I feel like networking is the best. And also like that's how people, and even when I started to change like what I do, so people would be like, oh, I've never heard you say it that way before. Like, wait a second, now we can connect, right? And so I find that, yeah, networking is really good.
I recently reached out to somebody on Facebook and I said, do you use LinkedIn? And she's like, no, I get my clients from referrals. I don't use LinkedIn. I was like, did you realize that LinkedIn is where the referrals happen? like how is that like a contradiction? And she's like, yeah, I don't use LinkedIn to get clients. I just use referrals. I was like, yeah, but your relationships are on LinkedIn. That's how people will remember. There's a concept called staying top of mind. And a lot of people don't realize how important it is to stay top of mind. Staying top of mind with your relationships, if you want to grow your business, you need to stay top of mind with your relationships, because they're not going to remember you just out of the blue. They have to remember you because they see you constantly. So the way to stay top of mind on LinkedIn is to post. If you post once a day, something of value, not something promotional, constantly promoting yourself, nobody wants to see that at a networking event, at a cruise, at a conference. Nobody wants to see you're always talking about yourself and always trying to tell everybody what you do for a living. Everyone could see what you do for a living from your profile, if your profile is optimized. But what people want to see is, who are you? What is your story? If you start sharing your story, people will resonate with your story. They'll trust you more, and then they'll go take a look at what you do for a living. And then if you do it consistently, they'll want to refer business to you and have a relationship with you. The average person can only have 150 relationships, period. But they have relationships with the people that are putting stuff out there, that are exposing themselves. So my advice to coaches and consultants that are out there, expose yourself a little bit more if you want more exposure. Post once a day on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and not as promotional stuff. Sometimes I get caught in that trap of just doing the promo stuff because I'm in like a summit or I'm in a giveaway or whatever it is, or my own thing. And I'm like, oh, that's my post for the day. It's a promo thing. That's it. It's all good.
Yeah, it's okay to do a promo thing maybe once every week or something. But if you're going to get caught up doing promos every day and you're not sharing your story, people are just going to tune you out.
So what does running your business with authenticity mean to you?
To me, running my business with authenticity means being your true self, loving what you do and doing what you love. They say, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. And I find that to be true. I truly love what I do. There's so many people that just work to make money. And if the money doesn't come in, they get frustrated and they don't want to do it anymore. For me, it's about building real relationships, getting to know people, and just being your true self, like sharing your voice with the world. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So show up. If you want to be interesting, you have to be interested. Be interested in other people. Be interested in yourself. Be authentic. Show up fully. Stop trying to be everybody else, because everybody else is already taken. So be yourself.
And I always found, so Joe and I met on the Marketers Cruise, and almost immediately I thought about how authentic he was, and then looking at his posts and everything, and even the stories that you do, that you post on Instagram and Facebook, it's just very much you. And I always I've been very inspired by your authenticity and how you're just so raw and just like, this is me right now. I'm just in my car. I'm doing whatever, and my hair is messy, and I don't care. And just you just don't care. You just show up.
Yeah, right? And the same way that I would show up in person in front of somebody, that's how I want to show up online. I want to show up as me. The same way that I would show up to a best friend when you see me on the ship or anywhere else, on Zoom, I want to show up as me being your best friend. That's what authenticity is about. Not hiding yourself from the world and worrying that other people are going to judge you. Because let me tell you something, people are going to judge you either way. You're still going to be evaluated. You're still going to be judged. That's what people do. People go around judging other people because that's what they were trained to do. Unless you're super conscious, you're going to be judging, evaluating, good, bad, right, wrong. This is like how we operate. And so if you're in the state of judgment, you're worried about that, then realize that other people's opinions are really none of your business.
100%. Not in your business at all. So season 2 of this podcast, I really changed it to be more about business. And I have sort of the tagline of reshaping business with integrity. So when you hear that, like how do you think that we can reshape business with integrity? I feel like there's so much awfulness out there. I feel like there's so much manipulation and scams, and people, don't deliver on what they promise. And I feel like, especially in the coaching world, there's so many people have unfortunately faced that. So I really want to try to encourage people through this podcast to be more in integrity. And so, how do you think we can do that?
The way that you're more integrity in business is making sure that you are able to actually do what you say. A lot of people, they make promises and then they break their promise. They say they're going to do something and then they don't do it. If you say you're going to do something, then do it. It's simple as that. That's what integrity is about. If you make a promise to somebody, make sure that you make good on that promise. Because if you lack integrity, it's not a bad thing per se. It just will not work. It doesn't work. You're not going to get referrals if you don't have integrity. You're not going to get clients that stay with you long term if you don't have integrity. Having integrity means that you're working, that it works, that you say you're going to do something and then you go off and do it. If you can't deliver on the promise, then find something that you can deliver on. Find a better promise. You can choose the promise that you make to your customers. So make sure that you're making a promise that makes sense and make sure they understand what the promise is. Business is often about communication. We need to communicate our message to people. Before somebody buys, they don't buy your business, they buy the perception of what your business might provide them, which is basically a promise. And the reason why a lot of people don't have integrity is because they have the communication set wrong and they make all these empty promises. And people out of desperation, they buy into those promises and then they end up being disappointed. Mm-hmm. So what I would tell people is there's from the end of like before you buy something, try to see, do they have testimonials? Are there people that you can talk to about it? Do your due diligence. But at the same time, know that sometimes you're going to invest in something that's just not going to work.
Yeah.
That's part of business. Not every investment is going to be a 10x investment. If you are afraid of making an investment and losing on some of your investments, that you're not willing to take a risk, then you're not really being an entrepreneur. Being an entrepreneur is about taking some risks. That means hiring some people and them not being able to deliver, or you buying a program and then you not having the bandwidth to be able to execute. That's going to happen sometimes. And that's part of the process. That's part of the learning process. Failure doesn't mean that you failed. Failure means that you tried something, it didn't work, and then you can learn something from that failure, and it still has a tremendous amount of value. Sometimes you learn more from your failures than you learn from your successes. And so if you've ever bought something from somebody and it didn't work out, see what you could learn from that. See what lesson that has taught you, because for me, one of the biggest lessons I've learned in my life is through my failures.
So give us a tip on how someone can get clients on LinkedIn.
The number one tip I have for getting clients on LinkedIn is do the right actions. Results don't come from wishing or hoping or dreaming. Those things are good things. If you want to grow your business on LinkedIn, there are really only 4 things that you need to be doing. Posting for exposure, engaging for credibility, messaging to book conversations, and connecting to expand your network. If you do those things every single day, you're going to get on more conversations, and conversations lead to conversions. If you want more clients as a coach or a consultant, getting more conversations with your target market is the key. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So if you're getting more conversations with your target market using LinkedIn, taking those 4-step approach that we teach in the Evergreen Networking System, and using Evie AI to help you save time by doing all those activities together with you as an assistant will help you be able to get to your goals. Which one of those 4 do you think you need the most help with?
I need help with all of them because I don't talk to anybody. I don't like people. But so when you say engaging for credibility, what does that mean?
If you want people to know that you're real on LinkedIn, leave a comment on their post. What will happen is they'll remember that you exist and they'll start trusting you more because you show up as a real person. Most people are not leaving any comments on posts. They're just sending out promotional content on LinkedIn and hoping for the best. Hope is a great thing. It's just not a great strategy. At Evergreen Networking, we teach you the right strategy for LinkedIn, and using Evie AI as your assistant, you can actually leave 50 comments a day. I recommend leaving a minimum of 5 comments every day on the posts of your target market. Imagine this. One of your prospects wakes up in the morning after they posted something on LinkedIn, and they find your comment on their post. They're going to give you more credibility. Why? Because suddenly they see that you're real. You're a real person. You're supporting their post. When you leave a comment on someone's post, you're actually supporting them and getting their post out there more. Everybody knows this, especially coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, sales professionals. They know when they post something on LinkedIn that most people are never going to comment on their post. And if you're the one that actually comments on their post, you're showing up for them. When you show up for somebody, they trust you more.
That's a good strategy. I hadn't really thought about that. The thing that bugs me about sometimes on social media is that, someone I don't know at all, don't have any connection with, will all of a sudden follow me or try to connect with me and then like 10 of my posts and maybe comment on them. And it's just like this whirlwind thing. And you just know that they're just fishing for your business.
It's a tactic. Tactics don't work. This person's being transactional. They're just trying to get your attention so that hopefully you follow them. That's a method that people do, especially on Instagram. People will connect with you, they'll follow you, they'll like a bunch of your posts, and then they'll leave. They'll blow up your notifications and they'll leave.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to save a strategic list of people who are prospects into an Evie AI list, for example. And then once a week, leave comments on their posts. Do that for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks, for 6 weeks in a row. That person's going to know who you are. They're going to know your first name, your last name, your company name. They're going to recognize you. They're going to see you. And anyone that reads their post is going to see you under their post because you're the only comment there. Most of the posts, there's only 15 million people out of the billion people on LinkedIn that are ever posting.
Really?
Yes. Wow. There's a billion people on LinkedIn, only 15 million are posting. Out of those 15 million, quite a large group of them are going to be your prospects, maybe tens of thousands. Out of those tens of thousands, you're the only one leaving a comment. Wow. Most posts on LinkedIn get 0 comments. Go look. You'll see. The influencers get the majority of the comments, which is a whole nother strategy on how to get exposure, is leaving comments on influencers that target your target market. But we're not even talking about that. We're talking about a very, very basic approach of building credibility with your target market by simply leaving comments. Imagine you're targeting someone named Lori. And Lori posts on LinkedIn twice a week. And when she posts on LinkedIn twice a week, on Friday, she checks her notifications and she sees that you left a comment on both of those posts. When you message her the next week and say happy birthday, she's going to be like, wow, Elisa really likes me. I can really trust Elisa, and I like her too. Not only does she wish me happy birthday, but she's also consistently promoting my posts. I should look into what she does. Then you message her and you say, would you like to get on a call with me? She's very likely to want to get on the phone with you because now she knows you, likes you, and trusts you. And when you offer her your services after you realize that she desperately needs you because she's failing on her launch, she's going to hire you in a heartbeat because you're the only person leaving comments on her post. Imagine you're doing that to 20, 30, 40 people on a monthly basis. It's not going to take you more than 15 minutes a day, but it's going to have a massive impact on your business.
Yeah, and so this is the thing, and I think that, if people were to like take away anything, is that to actually book in that 15 minutes and make it a priority in your business. I don't know how many days go by where I'm like, oh yeah, I got to do that, and then I don't, or like I have a little thing that says like app time on my calendar. But usually I just kind of look at the notifications that I have. I don't necessarily comment on people. So
that's called being reactive. So there's proactive. So I teach in our course, if you come to any of our training sessions, we teach reactive time versus proactive time. You want to spend 15 minutes on LinkedIn proactively. So spend 2 or 3 minutes writing a post with EviAI. It'll even come up with the topic. It'll write a hook, main points, a call to action, and hashtags. It's non-promotional. You post that post on LinkedIn. Thank you very much. That took you 3 minutes. Next, you comment on several posts. I recommend commenting on at least 5 and doing it strategically. Great. That took you another 2 or 3 minutes. Next, you make sure that you message at least 10 people on LinkedIn. 10 people that are either experiencing birthdays or anniversaries or job changes, or you see them that they posted something interesting and they're a prospect of yours and you want to remind them about something. You proactively message at least 10 people on LinkedIn each day. Then you send out 20 connection requests. That shouldn't take you more than 3 minutes. You go ahead and send out 20. Boom. Now you've done the 4 quadrants of LinkedIn, and you've done it in less than 15 minutes. You do that every day, you're going to get on 5 conversations every single day as a result of using LinkedIn. 5 a day, 20 a week, 80 a month. That's 1,000 conversations a year. If you had 1,000 conversations a year and you had a good offer to your target market, you'd probably make $100,000. How do I know that? Because my clients that take those actions make over $100,000 in profit in addition to whatever they're making right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's so awesome. So I hope everybody will listen to that. You might want to rewind and retake those notes and actually do it. Put it in your calendar and do everything that Joe just said, because who doesn't want an extra 100K in there for their revenue, for their business?
And also, there's going to be a link under this episode where you can grab EviAI. So go ahead, click on that link, check it out, and we'd love to support you guys and help you be able to build your business. Also, reach out to Elisa. Let her know that you heard this episode, because you know what? She wants to hear from you.
I do indeed. I also wonder if anybody's ever listening.
So, guys, seriously, if you've heard her podcast or you're an avid listener of her podcast, just send her a quick message, whether it's on LinkedIn, Facebook, or anywhere else that you can find her, or maybe even in her contact us on our website and say, I heard your podcast. That's all you need to do. If you do that, you will make her very happy.
Well, I'd love to hear from you. All right, Joe, how can our listeners find you online?
If you want to find me online, the best way to do it is to send the word demo to 973-841-8868. And you will find my LinkedIn profile and a demonstration of EviAI. That's DEMO to 973-841-8868. Or you could just Google my name, Joe Apfelbaum. You'll find me pretty quickly.
Awesome. Thank you. And I would just say, everybody, that I use EviAI and it is awesome. It is so incredibly helpful. I often don't know any of the other introverts out there, but sometimes I just don't know how to respond to something. And it's really super helpful in that, in generating a comment, and then I can like tweak it to be more me. But yeah, it's super, super useful. So I definitely recommend texting demo and watching the video to see what it's all about. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners?
I want you to know that no matter where you are right now, that is exactly where you need to be to get to the next level. Don't feel like you're not farther along, or don't feel bad that you're not where somebody else is. You're on your own unique journey. And you listening to this right now is the exact thing that you need to hear in order for you to get to the next level. So remember, results don't come from hope. Results come from taking consistent action. And if you can plan out the action, and sometimes the teacher shows up when the student is ready to hear it. And so if you're ready to learn, if you're ready to grow your business, take the right courses, read the right books, and remember, you can do it.
Thanks for being here, Joe. It's great having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'll see you on the next one. Boom.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope it inspired you to live a more authentic life. I'd love your help in inspiring more people to live authentically. So please follow, rate, and leave a review so we can create a ripple effect of authenticity. Until next time, stay true to you, be bold, and thrive on your own terms. This is Elisa, signing off authentically.